Tammy, hi, Jim Delaplane here. Let me just fit this into the screen here. Okay, so I want to give you some video tips on what you've provided me with here. So first, I'm going to hide the text here. Text is not just needed for this week, and I advise you not to place it there for next week. It's kind of like you're stuffing it into the corner. So what we'll do is try to incorporate text as part of the design, and I can give you some tips about that also. So first, note that your character needs to fit within a 6 by 8 inch area. Okay, you have your character going right to the edge, top and bottom, pretty much. So what you're going to do is click on the top layer. This is how you're going to resolve this. Click on the top layer and shift click on the bottom layer above the background, and then you can control click on the text to deselect that. So now you've got all these layers selected except for the background and the text layer. Okay, in fact, let's hide the text layer. So now we'll hit Control T to put a bounding box around all the elements. And now notice that the bounding box goes outside the viewing area. So if you hit Control 0, it will fit the bounding box in the viewing area. That allows you to now scale it. Okay, so you're going to go to any corner bounding box, click, start dragging inward. As you're dragging with the cursor held down, you're going to hold down the Shift key. This will constrain it, okay, so it's not out of proportion. You also want to hold down then the Alt key. All right, so Shift and Alt held down. All right, and as you're dragging in, you're just kind of eyeballing it, what you want. Okay, I'm going to let go of the cursor first. That's very important. And then the Shift and the Alt key. If you let go of any of the keys first, it will jump out of constrainment and it'll screw things up. All right, so if you screw it up, just hit the undo key, shortcut, Control Z, and then do it again. All right, so now you have all these still selected, so you can reposition it to wherever you want, and then hit Enter to apply the transformation. So let's take a look at what you did cutting out or masking out wise. You need to do a better job. Okay, very simply that. So what you did do was you used the shift click method, which is fine. Okay, but it gets tricky when it comes to rounded edges. Okay, so you need to be more detailed with that when you're going around rounded edges. I mean, I could show you a technique that would be kind of that's a whole other ball game you're opening up with regards to using the Bezier curve and the pen tool. So what you want to do in this case would be this. So if I click on this guitar here, okay, first of all, let's click away, click that. Note that in the Move tool, if you have the Auto Select active or checked, once you click on any element here, it's going to bring you right to that layer, which is a big time saver. Even though you have everything labeled, which is great, So let's select the guitar body layer mask. I'm then going to go to my paintbrush and make white my foreground color. So what I'm going to do is bring this, using the layer mask, I'll bring the image back in. Okay? Okay. So now I'm going to swap it again and make black my foreground color, which will mask it out. So that's the big advantage of layer masks. All right. You need to certainly go in here and improve this, but you would not be able to had you not used layer masks and deleted the pixels. So some students have to start over, but you don't. So with black as my foreground color, making sure that you have 100% hardness as your paintbrush, and you can determine the size of your brush by doing this. This is a little shortcut here. Your left bracket key on your keyboard will decrease the brush size. The right bracket key will increase it. Okay? So what you want to do is zoom in. So this is a little tedious. So you're going to click and look at the edge of the circle, click, and then shift click in short increments. That's the key. If you want it to look round, okay? Short increments, and don't even bother with what's out here. You could get rid of that later. You can go back in and just click and hold down the shift key as you're doing it, and as long as it's looking good, you can continue that. Okay? So that's how you would make that rounder. You don't want to go in long distances. Okay, you have to be careful of that. So here's what I'm saying. So if you hit X, it's swapping the foreground and background color. You could bring this back in, bring the image back in. So you cut some of this out, and then swap the foreground and background color again with X. and then go back in and go right along the edge there. Just take care. You know, it's a little tedious, but it's worth the extra effort for a better end result. All right, so do that, and then you'll be good. Aside from that, you know, it's kind of an odd setup here, but it is what it is. You may want to just think of a more creative way of, let's see, I wonder if we could do this. Let me bring this up to the top. All right, and I wonder if I could use one of these as a hole that this leg can come out of. So let's say I want to do that. I don't know. Okay, so let's say I do that. So I'm going to go to my layer mask um, and my paintbrush, and let me increase my bracket, my paintbrush size, and you know I want to have it somehow connect. So if it's here, okay, so let's say I could do it this way. Well, actually, this looks a little odd. So I'm going to swap it and bring this back in. So I will click and get the right brush size and make it so something like that. So now it looks like it's kind of coming out of that hole in the guitar, perhaps. Okay. Um, okay. There's that. All right. So I don't know what he's holding here, but is that part of? Yeah, that's all part of the image. Okay. You may want to decide to have fun with this and put something else in its hands. I don't know. How this comes into play, I don't know. It looks like a toy golf stick. Are you? Yeah, you're doing. Yeah, terrible toys, Todd. That's right. Okay. Yeah, so it's a toy. All right. I hope that helped. Take care. Bye.